With a self quiz, you don't need to submit it to me, but you do it on your own, and this is the only way how you make the stress of the final exam less, and how you will be feeling very prepared for the final exam. And it's nothing more than you normally receive in your chapter and vocab. Let's take the first one. Make the screen a little bit bigger for you on your cell phones, and or even on your computers if you work. And the first, okay, that questions you can fill up from the chapter, and you do it on your own. There's all information in your chapter. So to prepare for you for the questions will be in a final exam. I don't know, it will be the same formula or is different slightly, but I give you the main grammar questions. So when you do self-quiz on your own, you prepare for the final exam, all right? So it doesn't pile up at the end. So, but please don't leave it later. Good morning, Ronnie. Good morning, Ronnie. We hear you. We hear you. We welcome you, but please mute yourself. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we want to leave that for you, grammar questions. So it's up to you to prepare, and like in the parsing, what you will given to translate. Let's take the first one, prophetess. And you recognize the word ho prophetess, which is the prophet, and you have to indicate the case. Case is can be nominative, genitive, accusative, and dative. So, but you see the prophetess is the same form as is in the vocabulary. All right, so it's the same form. So it's doesn't change, ending is the same. So you say nominative, is this the same form? As it means it's nominative. It is the subjective case, subject. So you say nominative here, number, doesn't change number, no changes, you say number, singular, gender. And it's whole prophetess. You remember it's whole prophetess. It's not he, not feminine, not to. So if it's whole prophetess, it means gender, masculine. And lexical form, you don't need to, I will not give it to you in the final exam, but this helps you. Let's say alleluia is a different form from vocabulary. So then you have to give a dictionary form here. All right, so write what you see, because it's a little bit different with the ending here. And then meaning of inflected form. So what does it mean, prophetess? And since it doesn't change, not of prophet, not to prophet, not with prophet, it's just prophet. So you write prophet. And let's take like phone. Phone, you know its voice, okay? Phone doesn't, you see it's not changing here, the same, ending is the same. So in case you write nominative, then number. This what number is? Number is the same, singular, so we don't put it in gender. He phone, you know it from the vocab, it's he phone, so it's feminine. So you gender you judge from the article. If it's he, if it's ho.
Sorry, ma'am.
Yes, I listen to you, Ronnie. Is it Ronnie?
Yes, it's Ronnie. I don't see anything from my side. I don't know whether that is been done by you. I hear you talking, but I don't see anything.
Tell me, Lileta Bongani, Adrian, do you see me?
No, ma'am, we can't see anything.
Okay.
No, we can't.
Oh, thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ronnie. Now, can you see me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Let's start all over. It is my fault. I'm sorry. I'm running ahead of myself. So this is the quiz, self-quiz I posted for you for the Google Classroom. And this is all the questions you have to answer on the chapter. and information in the chapter that you have to go through, and this is the parsing. So that's what I was talking about. Prophetess, phone, the same form as you find it in a vocabulary. So he phone, and case will be nominative, number singular, gender. He phone is a feminine and lexical form the same, doesn't change, so you can write the phone the same here. And the meaning of inflected form, inflected is the changed form, meaning of changed form. It is this meaning. So it will be voice or sound, voice or sound or noise, the same. So it's when Jesus says you hear the sound or sound of the Spirit, but you don't know where it comes from. So the voice of the Spirit or sound or noise. There's all translations. Let's take the word cosmos. So can you recognize the word cosmos, what it comes, what is the lexical form of word cosmos? You see the ending is different here. So what is the lexical form will be? Cosmos, isn't it? Cosmos, but without upsilon here. It will be ho cosmos, the lexical form. It's how you find it in a vocabulary. Cosmos, ho cosmos. You write ho cosmos. But the difference between ho cosmos vocabulary form and form that you find here is the upsilon added. And upsilon, if you open your definite article form, which all of you have, and I posted it many times, ending omicron, upsilon, sigma, you find where? It's only here. Do you see? Masculinum, plural, accusative. Can you see that? Ronnie, can you see that?
Oh, yes, ma'am, I can see it.
Do you see it? So that's the ending that you find. So it's not this one. In dative, we always have iota everywhere in plural. You see the iota here in feminine, iota here in neuter, and iota here in masculinum. It's always iota comes in dative. So, but here we have upsilon, and nowhere else you can find upsilon except genitive, but genitive doesn't have sigma at the end. So that's how you will find and identify the case. So let's go back. So we have accusative. So now look here, cosmos, upsilon, sigma. That will be accusative, you write accusative, number plural, gender. Gender doesn't change, so it doesn't change in singular, plural, doesn't change from vocabulary form and or text form. When you find it in a text, gender doesn't change. It stays, it's born, it stays with the same gender. So ho cosmos, it means masculinum. So you write masculinum. You look at the, if you don't see, you can't guess what is the gender, you go to vocabulary and check it there. And you see the article ho, it means gender is masculinum. And then lexical form, so it doesn't confuse you. You have to write ho cosmos. Okay, ho cosmos. That's how you're gonna look for. And then you translate. Since it is the accusative, it means to the world. Okay. Oh, to world, but it's not really sounds well in English. So you write to the world. Oh, just the world, you know, the world, to the world. Let's say I say the words to the world. So now you write to the world. That was the key word of accusative. And the last one, doxa, is the same as in the vocabulary. And the last one, alleluia. which is difficult for students sometimes, but I don't know why. It's just confusing them very often. And allelos comes from the word allos, which you find in chapter 6. You're supposed to know that from chapter 6 vocabulary, you have allos, which means other, another. Remember, I gave you on the YouTube, there's two words, heteros and allos. Another, he will send you another comforter. So another is the same one. This is the word, the same one, the same comforter as me, the same type, the same, everything is the same nature. So allelos, but so you recognize alpha, double lambda, and then you write allos here, as you find it in the vocabulary. But now let's find out the case. You see Omicron, Iota, Sigma. For your personal ease, let's see where we can find that ending. Look here. So we have Omicron, Iota, Sigma. Where do you see that? Omicron, Iota, Sigma. Omicron, Iota, Sigma. Where do you see that ending? So you have dative, Omicron, Iota, Sigma here, and Omicron, Iota, Sigma here. But since this is the not a noun, it can be noun, so we can say it's a masculinum. Okay, another comforter, let's say, toys, always, ending. So we have dative, let's say masculinum, because there's that is adjective. We can say adjective for the, like another lady or another man. So it depends on the noun. The gender depends on the noun, but we're describing the noun. So it doesn't say which gender here, but let's say this masculinum. So we have so it means dative, number plural, gender, let's say masculine, or it can be feminine too. In lexical form are less, and the meaning of an inflected form, if it's dative, it means to or with. So with another one. Is it a little bit easy for you how you operate with the vocabulary now? So every time I will try to give you 5 minutes of that, so you're not caught in a non-aware. So questions, please ask me questions before it's too late. Ask me questions. Now I will be commenting on a new chapter of vocabulary, chapter 7. We have to go through that chapter 7, and many words we will find that words from chapter 7 vocabulary we will find in a portion of reading. Our reading now. I want to repeat for the sake of Adrian. He haven't been on the last Zoom session, neither some other students, but I don't, maybe Ronnie wasn't there too. But anyway, let's start with the verse 12 of Gospel of John, and there you find lots of vocabulary words that you have to study. I won't read it now because we have shortage of time, and we'll start with translation straight away. Hosoi, as many, or part of many who to whom logos came, they, it's post-positive word, however, but it always stays, because it's post-positive, it has to stay after one or two words. It can be even in the middle of the sentence, but never first. That's why it's post-positive. But, or however, or so ever, but as many, or as little, or as little, you can be translated as well, but as many as Elabon received him, auton. And this is one of the words that comes in your vocabulary. So auton comes from the word autos, he, she, it. And you see the ending, Omicron, nu. And now the question to you, when you pause, what is the case? Omicron nu. What is the case?
Objective.
Yeah, so it will be accusative. You correct. And easy for you, that will give you, look here, if I click, oh, it doesn't, okay. So it will be accusative, you see, objective, you're right. So that's how you can check yourself, but you have to learn to recognize the endings. So auton, that's a masculinum. We talk about logos, ho logos, auton, him, received whom, him, objective case, you correct. So it's a masculinum, it is accusative. So we don't confuse the words because the Greek is very flexible language. Words can be mixed up and turn up anyway in a sentence. We have to know the place, and this is the way how to recognize the cases. So, but as many received him, accusative, he gave, and we can extract the pronoun from the verb, but how I will teach you later. He gave autois, another passing case. So what is this ending? What the case of this ending? What is the case of this ending? If you see iota, it will be giving you exact indication. If it's iota, it is dative case.
Dative.
Dative, correct. So that's why you can see to. So the key word to dative case is to or with or toward, or as what, logos was together with God, toward God, together with God, alongside with God, in the same direction with God, with the same goal with God. This is all dative. Just remember logos and God relationship. Remember dative. So to give, dative. So he gave to them, exousian. Again, what is the ending here? Exousian. We have exousia. You will learn your vocabulary. He exousia. It's a feminine. He exousia. And if you see n, this is most of the time indication of accusative, objective. What he gave them, what? It means he gave, but to give them what? It is objective case, object, to give exousia. And authority is translated as authority, but very, very interesting semantic of this word, exousia. And exousia directly related to the divinity. It is the power or authority, or power, authority, supernatural ability. Let's say in Greek you have two words. One is dynamos. It's also power. When they talk about Christ having a power, they were amazed that Christ, many times you read in the New Testament, they were amazed at the power that came out of Christ. Okay, so, and they were talking about dynamos, which is a power or strength, and this is this is in the same semantic range with exousia, but difference between dynamos, where is the English word dynamite, dynamite. What is it? How do you pronounce it? Dynamite. Okay, what explodes. Came from. Exousia is different. Dynamis, it is something that comes out of you. There's something, it's a strength, it's a power. But exousia, it's also power, but it's different. Exousia, it's something that is given to you, right? It's not what comes out of you. It is something that you receive, you authorized, and you've been delegated with. Let's say you presenting a company goes somewhere and you say, I'm on behalf of the company doing that and that, you have exousia, right? You have a power, or you have authority, or have legal rights to act or to deal on behalf of someone. So that's what God gave his children: exousia, authority, legal rights, power, or strength, not something that comes out of them, but comes from him on behalf of him as well. So he gave them legal rights, authority to become children of God. Teknia theou. Teknia, accusative. Theou, you see omicron and upsilon, and there's the genitive case. Children of God. This is the key word of genitive, of God. Teknia theou. You had in your midterm quiz, you had not teknia, you had other word. I forgot, something of God. Prophet of God. Yeah, you had a prophet of God. But anyway, so if you have omicron upsilon, this is of, children of God to become. And so you see, when you so when you become a children of God, it's not from your power, not from your authority, not from your ability. That's something given to you, and that's only with the given something you become a children of God. And who are these children of God? Pisteusim, and the tois, the case, if you see iota, it's the direct indication, it is the dative case, and this is plural. You can check in your chat, it will be plural and will be masculinum, because it's kind of summarizing all the children believing in God. So to them, the ones who are children, the ones that are believing. And this is a interesting, very interesting word. I can't comment on that later on when you're more knowledgeable about it. And this continuously believing, the ones who not just believed once or believe later or fall off of faith, but who keeps his faith burning, keeps his faith running, the children of God. Eis to onoma. And you know the word onoma? I hope you do know onoma. I'm not sure if it was in your vocabulary, but anyway, onoma, name, and this is again accusative. Believing into name, autou, autos, from the word autos, his name. And let's go faster now. Who not uk, ex haimaton, who not of blood, who are children, and there's all describing of children of God, who are not through blood, ude ektelematos sarkos, not from the desire of the flesh. And notice that word flesh, okay, here, in what context is used, flesh, yeah, because you will see that word flesh very soon, just another sentence. Not from the blood, not from desire of flesh, which is not necessarily negative meaning, because there's no certain connotation of negative or positive. It's just two sides of the reality. So the blood and flesh stays on the one side of the weights, and then we have the desire of andros. Adrian, your name comes from the Greek word andros, which means aner or andros, male or female, or male or man or husband. So andros, it is man, male, husband. And you, in 3rd chapter of Gospel of John, you will meet the Samaritan lady who is talking to Jesus, and Jesus says to her, call me your andros, which means call me your man, call me your male. And she says, I don't have andros, she says. And he says to you, you had 5 andros, you had 5 males, and the one andros whom you living now, he is not your andros, not your husband, which is variety of meaning, you know. And of course, the translators are thinking that probably appropriate would be translated husbands, but there's the play of words of male, man or husband. So he says, not from the desire of husband, but from God, egenetesan. Very important word, egenetesan. It's comparison with the genesta. You see, he's from God. To be, word to be, genestan, to be born. Genesta is the prerogative of a female to give birth, and prerogative of male to egenesan, so to recreate or to conceive. So in this case we say who been born from God. And very important for you as the future ministers, you when you are presenting God and you being as a representation of God in front of world, you representing him, so he can have children, and you have to represent God as he gave you authority. So God can have children. God will not be represented as a childless God who can't give birth to children. Do you understand me? So the children have to be born from God, and this is only God's prerogative to give them birth. But you are representative, and you have to represent him in such a way so children can be born, and they will be born from God himself. So next one, chapter verse 14, and this is the center of chiasm, and with two slopes, 1 to 13 and 15 to 18 will be another slope of chiasm, but this is the center, okay? And this is the goal of entire pericope. Kai ho logos sarx egenoto. Where did you see sarx? Just here before, one sentence. Sarx, flesh. And the word egenoto became flesh, and John doesn't say very softly. He could say soma. Soma means the body or organ. We have somatical diseases, you know, when one of another organs are sick, and then we have somatical diseases that can be cured. But John not saying he became a body, he's saying he became a flesh. And when you use the word sarx, flesh, you indicate the raw meat that animals do devour, or do animals eat. And this is the he became flesh is very low word for the low. You can't go down more, because you can say in a more higher form of language, and he could use many other words to indicate it, but he says he became flesh, he became sarx, he became flesh. And eskenosen, he dwelt. And what is dwelling? And this is the tenting. So became tent. He pitched up the tent, and it comes from skune. Skuneo means for Abraham. That's what he used to do. What Moses did in the desert. He pitched up tents all the way through the journey to the promised land. That's what Christ did, Logos did. He pitched up tent. And mean among, not necessarily you see the first meaning of en, it's not among only, it means in us. He wants to dwell in us. He pitched, and the body, his flesh, his bodily image becomes a tent to dwell, that the divinity, that God himself can dwell in that flesh. And he dwelt in that, he pitched up the tent, that body, he pitched it among us, as the Moses pitched up the tent of tabernacle in the middle of the encamping of Israelites. Kai sameta, and we beheld, or we saw. When you come, the word theater comes from the word theasao, which means to observe, to watch, or to beheld with some purpose. When you come into the theater or any show, you are watching something with the goal, with the purpose to learn something, all right, to maybe to entertain yourself, or just to gain something. So the same word at the summit, and we beheld, we watched him, we beheld, we watched to learn something. We beheld ton doxan, and this is the accusative form. Do you see that article 10 for he doxa? So it will be 10 accusative form. We watched, we beheld what? We beheld his glory. With the what, if we beheld, if we behold, if we watch something, if we observe something, we not just observing as the show. We want to learn something. We want to gain something from this observation, and we beheld his glory. And what kind of glory? Doxan hos monogeneus. Monogeneus, absolutely important for you to know. Mono means the same, but not only, it means the one and only, of course. Genos, gene comes from English word genos, nature, gene, nature, gene. So the same natured, the same genes, or the only genes as from the Father, the only nature, who is the same nature from the Father. The translation varies, but it's not as the only in the sense as the singular or plural. It means in the same of uniqueness. So the unique genes with the Father, or the same genes with the Father, are full of grace and glory, grace and truth. I will comment on that later, but please, when you do your devotional, focus on monogenes. Please read up about it, and Theosamata and maybe Skunea will be your main goal, and Sarx as well. Where does this comes from? And now our time is almost over. I pray for you and bless you with these words to ponder and think about it, and may it sink into your hearts and minds. Yeah. All the blessing for you. And if any questions about this particular verse, please WhatsApp me, so I can answer your questions more. And the last question: if you see your midterm quiz that I sent you to the to your email boxes, if you see there's the language is a bit messed up, I will resend it to you in PDF format. Okay. So I will resend it to you if you can't read, it's not readable, because I'm not sure if it can do that. Okay, that is all. God bless you. Any questions?